listening, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope soul, sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. That like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't stop.
What?
Don't stop.
What?
Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knicks family. Welcome to the morning recap show. The Knicks lost a tough one to the Chicago Bulls in Madison Square Garden, 117-118. And at the end of the day, it came down to closing out the game. The Knicks shot well from the field. Chicago shot well from the field. The Knicks were unable to close, unable to grab a key rebound down the stretch, missed 4 free throws with 1:06 left in the game. You can't win that way. And throughout the game, their perimeter defense, in my opinion, has regressed. But we're about to get into it. Happy holidays to you and yours. Appreciate everybody who's watching right now and those who will watch later. I am forever grateful. All right, let's get into it. Coming into the game, the Knicks were 18-14 in the Eastern Conference, 6th in the standings, had won 9-1 over their last 10, and had lost 1 game to Toronto. Chicago Bulls coming into the game was 13-18, 11th in the Eastern Conference, 4-6 over their last 10, but they had won their last 2 games. And remember, the Knicks beat them twice in Chicago. They're coming in on a 2-game winning streak. You know they were going to be amped up for this game. Quentin Grimes was back in the starting lineup, so it was Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randall, Robinson. Obi Toppin remains out. For Chicago, it was Ayu Dosunmu. Alex Caruso started the last 2 games the Knicks played Chicago, but he was out last night. Zach Levine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. Lonzo Ball has yet to appear in a game for the Chicago Bulls this season. Let's get right into it in terms of how the Knicks played individually, and then we'll also talk about them as a team. I am interested, though. I know last game, nobody was panicking. It was just 1 game. The Knicks were coming off a back-to-back, and they played relatively well, and nobody was panicking. The Knicks have now lost 2 in a row. So, Knicks family, are you panicking? Let me know in the chat. Those that's watching later, comment down below. The Knicks have lost 2 straight. Has anything changed about what you think the Knicks can be this season, what you think their ceiling is? Let me know. But anyway, RJ Barrett, 44 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 70% from the field, 6 3-pointers. And if I'm not mistaken, he was 6 for 6 from 3. RJ Barrett was a monster last night. He was finishing at the rim. He was hitting his 3-point shots. And there was a little creating off the dribble, last night for RJ Barrett. He was strong throughout the entire game, right from the jump. I thought the Knicks recognized that, particularly down the stretch. They put the ball in RJ Barrett's hand to initiate the offense. Now they were doubling Barrett, and he knows how to play. He's a very smart guy. He passed out of the double team. He didn't force it. He had a big shot, off the dribble to fade away. I just thought RJ Barrett was a monster offensively. Defensively, he wasn't at his best, but he was a net positive. He outscored his position, for sure. So, and over the last 10, I think we can safely say that RJ Barrett has turned the corner. He struggled in the beginning of the season, and any criticism he got at that point was well deserving. Trust me, we all saw it. But now that he's turned the corner, I think that we have to acknowledge that he's righted the ship. He's playing better. I don't want to hear any excuses. The post game, what Bill Bill Pito, whatever his name is, oh, he must have been hurt. Look how well I don't want to hear nothing about being hurt. I don't want to hear nothing about being sick. I read somewhere that he wasn't playing a lot of pickup ball because of his contract situation. He didn't want to get hurt. I don't want to hear about that either. He did not play well. He's turned the corner and he's playing very well. And last night he was lights out. I was really impressed with RJ Barrett last night. Defensively, he needs to tighten up a little bit. Listen, he was a better defensive player. His freshman, his rookie year, last year he was better. I think this is his 4th year. Like each year it's going down just a tad. We just really need him to get back up to par defensively. And then that would be a major plus for us. And, in terms of, I was thinking about this coming into the season, we were talking about RJ Barrett taking the next step. Like, what is he adding to his game? But for some players, taking the next, well, for all players, this is what I believe. Another way to take a step is to do what you were doing better, right? I mean, coming into the season, we wanted RJ Barrett to be better at the free throw line, and he has. We wanted him to be better at the rim, and as of late, he has. And we wanted him to continue to be more efficient and be a better three-point shooter. And over the past, I would say 10 games he has. I'll have to crunch the numbers. Check me out on Queen's Court. We'll talk all things RJ Barrett, and I'll crunch the numbers as well, including how he's finishing at the rim. But stop trying to add and expand your game. Figure out what your base is and get better at that. And I think that's what RJ Barrett is doing. So we shall see if this continues. But I'm like what I'm seeing from RJ Barrett. Randall was good also. 29 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists. He took 10 3-pointers. He hit 5 of them. He shot 50% from the 3-point line. Me, you already know how I feel about Randall in the threes. However, how can you argue with those results? 50% from the 3-point line last night. Brunson, 12 points, 9 assists, 5 for 15 from the field, 1 for 4 from the free throw line. It's just unacceptable. Now, I don't want to hear about the injuries either, because he was injured, in the I think it was the 2 Chicago games. We were all surprised that he was able to play. I don't know if you want to say maybe it's taking its toll, as the games go on, maybe. But his floor, 9 assists. Last game he had 12 assists, but his efficiency as well is down. He only had 1 turnover, so that was okay. But what I'm noticing other teams are doing is they're doubling him, they're crowding him, they're getting him to pass the ball early so that he's not the one initiating the offense. And last night they put the sumo on him, who's a bigger guard, a tough defender, and Brunson wasn't able to get to his spots. Again, is he still a little injured? I've seen Brunson, whether it was taller players, quicker players, stronger players, still be able to get to his spots. But the last 2 games, he's been struggling in that regard. So let's see. Let's see how Philly plays him. Let's see how teams play him the rest of the season. I think what they're trying to do is cut off the head of the snake. Let RJ, let Randall make the decisions. Let those 2 guys score and lead the team, and let's see what happens. Now, statistically, those 2 guys responded. Last game against Toronto, both of them had 30. This game, RJ had 44, Randall had 29. So they have responded, if this is in fact what teams are trying to do. That being said, we lost both games. So I think, that tells us in one regard how important Brunson is, but in another regard, we hit our free throws. We're not even having this conversation, and Brunson was the culprit. He missed 2 free throws with 6 seconds left in the game that could have iced the game, and he missed both of them. It's just unacceptable. I'm sorry. It's just unacceptable. You got to hit your free throws. 1 for 4 from the game. It's a problem. And I know after the game, he takes full responsibility, but after a while, it gets really tiring. He's a stand-up guy. He puts it on himself. Okay, we get it. We appreciate it. But now we need you to change it. I don't want to come down on him too hard because he's come through more games than he hasn't. but he needs to be better. That's all I'm saying. Quickly, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 60% from the field. I love Quickly when he's playing off the ball. When the ball is whipping around and they find Quickly open, I love it. And I don't think his catch and shoot numbers are all that great. But to me, it just seems like whenever they swing it to him and he's open, he hits it. That dribbling around, and I get it, he's probing the defense. He's trying to see if he can get in the lane for the floater. I get it. But it's a bit disruptive to the offense, in my opinion. But 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He shot 60% from the field. Good game from Quick. I just want to get into a few more player stats before I get to. Well, I'll talk about the Knicks shooting percentage in the next segment when we talk about the team stats. Grimes, I'm not sure if Grimes was 100%. I thought his defense was okay. He fouled DeRozan on that last play, really crowded him. You can argue whether or not it was a foul or not. I know Ajay was in the chat early, putting his 2 cents in about the officials, but he fouled him, and he missed 2 free throws with 1:06 left. And I don't want to, nobody on this team is untouchable when it comes to constructive criticism. Grimes has been great for us. His intangibles have been great for us. His defense, his perimeter defense has been great. His timely shooting, he's been great. But you got to hit free throws. You're a starter in the NBA. You have to hit your free throws. And he wasn't the only one. The Knicks were 15 for 26 from the free throw line. They shot 57.7%. This is a professional NBA team. They shot 57.7% from the free throw line. It's unacceptable. Robinson, 2.6 rebounds. The last 2 games, teams have really been focusing in on Mitchell Robinson, trying to keep him off the boards. He still had, let me see if I can get to it. He still had 3 offensive rebounds out of the 6, 2 points. So he wasn't able to dominate the offensive boards like he used to. But listen, he was going against Vucevic. It happens. I think we all need to be better. iHeart, 5.7 rebounds, 1 block in how many minutes did iHeart play? 20 minutes, right? 7 rebounds in 20 minutes. More rebounds than Mitchell Robinson, right? Sims, 5 rebounds in only 10 minutes. McBride, 2 points, 2 assists, only 1 for 3. But McBride just looks so much more confident out there. You give, especially offensively. You give him you give him a shot. He's not just looking to pass it to somebody else. If he has it, he's going to take it. If not, he'll pass it to someone else. He just looks much more confident out there. Let me just go over Chicago stats, and then I'll check in with the chat. Appreciate you guys. Happy holidays. DeMar with the game-winning shot. 25 points, 10 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Didn't shoot great from the field, 42.9%. But we knew what they were going to do coming down the stretch. That last second shot, they were going to go to him. And he has a reputation for hitting clutch shots. And he hit it there. Levine, 33 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 3-pointers, shot 54.5% from the field. Now, he's been struggling for the field for the season. But these past few games, he's been really playing well. Vucevic, 21 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 3 3-pointers. And that's another thing. The Knicks' perimeter defense was non-existent. Right? When you keep players out the lane, now you don't have to rotate and leave your guy, leaving an open man for them to pass the ball to for the 3. And the Knicks were doing a much better job with that, keeping guys in front so we wouldn't have to rotate as much. Not last night. They were driving. The Knicks had to rotate. They was passing it to the open person, and they were hitting their shots. They shot 45% from the 3-point line. The Knicks have to do better perimeter defense. Last night looked like one of our earlier games. Let me know what you think about it, if you agree or disagree with that. But last night, as far as our defense is concerned, it really looked like the earlier games before we made the change in the starting lineup. I don't know if that's because Brunson and Grimes are hobbled. I'm not sure, but it looked the same. All three of their best players played well, and the Knicks really had no answers defensively. All right, let me check in with the chat before I get to the team stats. Our communities, our children, appreciate you. Happy holidays. Defense was what helped them win 8. They left it last night. No doubt about it. Good morning, Pudge Nice. I appreciate you. Ashley Inc. 1. Appreciate you, West Coast. Also, Mitch was MIA, so Tibbs has a responsibility to make adjustments for him and Brunson. What's the adjustment? I mean, I'm not taking out my when you have a player like Brunson, number one, you don't take them out when they're struggling. Basically you're sending a message, you play well, I'm going to play you, but if you don't play well, I'm snatching you. I'm not going to give you an opportunity to work through it. So I just don't think you can do that. But the other thing, who's the other option? You want quickly running the point? He over dribbles a bit too much for me. You want McBride running the point in that type of game? Right? He still had 9 assists. So I'm not sure what the adjustments were for Brunson. For Mitch, I think as a coach, you got to go down with your players. That's how I feel. Unless they've just been stinking it up for a considerable period of time, then you make the change. But I just don't think you just snatch a player because they're struggling. I think as a coach, you have to support them as well. Let them know you still believe in them. And when a player is good, they can turn it around at any time. One shot, boom, they're back to themselves. So he did the same thing with RJ. Let RJ play through a horrendous stretch of basketball. Not necessarily this season, but last season, he let Quickly play through a horrendous set of basketball games. I think you build up trust. Ashley Inc. Ajay agrees with Ashley Inc., but the refs cannot be deciding games. We have to care when they make BS calls and decide who wins the game. I mean, all of that being said, we can talk about the refs, but hit your free throws. And I'm not saying you're wrong about the officials. I'm not saying you're wrong. Hit your free throws. 57.7%, the Knicks deserve to lose that game. I'm sorry. 4 missed free throws in the last minute, 6 seconds, you deserve to lose. Keith Turner, RJ hurts this team defensively real bad. I didn't think he had his best defensive game last night, but I think it was a net positive. He poured in 44 points. Angel Torres, appreciate you. Happy holidays. Queen, do you think Randall, RJ, and Brunson 80 minutes in 3 days maybe affected them? We have a 9-man rotation, but Sims and Deuce play little minutes. So yeah, that's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying. It could be that it's catching up with them. Who are you? But how can we expand the rotation at this point? Like, who are you playing behind Randall with RJ out? With Obi out. Do you give RJ more minutes at the 4? RJ is already running with the second team, So maybe we do have to expand the rotation, a bit. I think that'll happen when Obi gets back, but who knows when that'll be. In the meantime, can Cam get back into the rotation? I doubt it. Fournier, prior to this game, when our defense was playing really well, I thought you can put somebody who's not a great defender in, and you could kind of cover for one person, right? Remember, we were the 11th ranked defense last season, and Fournier started the entire season, right? So you could cover for one person. But the way we played last night, I'm not sure. Okay. Paris Duggar, after a while, is short-sighted. It's just December. Russian show last night that you can't expect players to come to MSG. I don't believe that. I know that's your narrative, that And I believe that that some players cannot play in MSG, but you're not going to tell me that Brunson wilted under the lights of MSG. I'm sorry, I can't, I can't, I can't agree with that. RJ was incredible. He was. Keith Turner, I still want RJ traded. That part hasn't changed. I'm sorry, he just doesn't impact winning on this team. Listen, it's not just RJ. If the Knicks aren't winning, can you point to one player? I mean, this was the same argument when it came to Randall. Everybody was saying Randall doesn't impact winning. They want him to be traded. It's a team game. Without RJ, we're not even in that game last night, especially the way Brunson played offensively. So I don't know if I'm going to say that he doesn't impact winning. All right, let's get to the team stats. I'll definitely check back with you guys. Knicks out rebounded Chicago. The assist was relatively even. The blocks were relatively even. The Knicks had 10 turnovers. Chicago had 4, and 10 is not bad. Chicago was just better. And I think this is the second game where a team just had 4 turnovers. I think Toronto only had 4 turnovers. I wonder where the Knicks are in. I wonder if there's a stat for forcing turnovers. I don't think the Knicks force a lot of turnovers. Both the Knicks and Chicago shot well. 50% for the Knicks, 48.4% for Chicago. From the 3-point line, 45.7%. Excuse me, from the 3-point line, yeah, 45.7 for the Knicks, 45.2. I mean, both of them shot well from the 3-point line. And thank goodness the Knicks have seemed to turn the corner as far as 3-point shooting is concerned. But in my opinion, it's the game right here. 55.7% from the free throw line, 77.8%. The Knicks were, let me see, I have to go back to that. 15 for 26. 15 for 26, 11 free throws. And Chicago missed 4. Now, the Knicks made, even with that, they still made more free throws than Chicago. But you take advantage of your free throw shooting, you win this game. You know, second chance points. The Knicks have gotten better in that regard as well. Gave up 11. They had 20. And points off turnovers. This may have been the first or second time in the season that the Knicks had more points off of turnovers than the other team. So just some general observation. I thought that our perimeter, and we talked about this already, the perimeter defense was lacking. Like, don't get too high on yourself. You still have to do the basics, right? You have to rebound. They gave up a key offensive rebound. I think Pat Williams in the last minute and a half or something missed a shot. The Knicks were unable to get the rebound. I think the Knicks were up by 4 at that point. And we didn't get the rebound. They got it. They scored. Now we're down 1. Excuse me. Now we're only up 1. And then we missed 4 free throws. So in terms of our free throw shooting, that has regressed a little bit. And as far as our perimeter defense last night, and you can even say against Toronto, wasn't great. So the Knicks have to understand what their bread and butter is, what they hang their hat on each and every night. And that's your baseline. That you have to do every single night. And I did not see that last night. We talked about Brunson struggling in the 2 games we lost. Let's see if this is how teams play him, crowd him, playing with bigger players. I've seen him take advantage of that in the past. I have. But let's see. We're playing Philly Sunday, and they'll probably do the same thing. All right. Let me check in with the chat really quick, and then we're going to get to Philly. Pudge Nice, front office dragging their feet, making trades. So basically, Pudge Nice, you believe the Knicks need help. Our communities, our chill defense was non-existent. Pudge Nice, perimeter defense was terrible. Listen, Paris, relax. I'm not saying that there's certain players that can't play in Madison Square Garden. I get it. All I'm saying is Brunson is not one of them. That's all I'm saying. And there's nothing you can tell me that's going to make me believe that Brunson's bad games, these past 2 games, was because he's feeling the pressure of playing in New York. Stop. And happy holidays to you, though. Our communities, our children, some Knicks fans are delusional. What games do these Knicks fans watch? Fournier better than no. But I will say that as far as the defense is concerned, pick them. People giving, Fournier the business for his defense. Is Barrett's defense that much better? But I hear you. The Knicks choke, no doubt, but the refs helped them win. Okay. David G, appreciate you. The team is going to wear down eventually. I mean, listen, I think this just goes to show where our roster is. You open it up, the Knicks were terrible. We shortened it. We found some success. Now we got, now it seems like we have to open it again. Let's see what happens. Keith Turner, but Tibbs bench Fournier. He didn't let him play through it, and he's 10 times better than RJ. Ooh, I don't know about that, Keith Turner. I think he did let Fournier work through it. I mean, we were calling for Fournier to come out of the starting lineup for a while before it actually happened. And that's one thing, you may not like about, a lot of the fans may not like about Tibbs, but I do. Give the player rope, not necessarily to hang themselves, but to right the ship. Give them an opportunity to play through it until it just gets to the point where it's just obvious to everybody that a change has to be made. And I think that's what happened. With Fournier. But that being said, Keith Turner, I feel like before last night, I felt like our defense was strong enough that you can put somebody like Fournier back in the rotation. Because one thing about Fournier, he will try. He will fight over the screens. He will, his hands is active. Whatever you're not getting from Fournier is not because of lack of effort. It's just physically, he just doesn't move his feet that fast. And we have a few people, RJ Barrett is another one. You know what I mean? But I think prior to last night, I felt like our defense was well enough that we can absorb a Fournier into the lineup. And then last night, they put up that defensive clunker. And I'm not so sure anymore. All right, before I get into Philadelphia, our next game, Christmas morning, let's just talk about where we are in the Eastern Conference. We're still in the 6th seed. We're still 6th place. But the gap between 6 and 7 has moved from 2 games to 1. And it's no longer Miami in the 7th seed. It is Atlanta. And this is how things can change in the Eastern Conference, right? So Toronto 1-2. Chicago Bulls, who are not even in the playoff picture right now, if the season was to end right now, they've won 3. The Wizards have won 1 or 2. They've won 1, but I believe 2 out of their last 3. So 6 through 12, that's going to continue to churn, in my opinion, throughout the season. And the Knicks got to be on their game. They have to be on their game. New York, Atlanta, Indiana, Miami, Toronto, Chicago, Washington, all of those teams are right there. I don't think you can look at any one of those teams and say this team is better than the other. If their players are playing up to par. Obviously, if you're not playing up to par, you are. But if these players are playing up to par, 6 through 12, the season can end any type of way. So if the Knicks want to finish in 6th seed or even in the play-in, that defense has to be consistent, and you got to hit free throws. I'm sorry I'm humping on the free throws. You got to hit free throws. But right now, the Knicks are still in 6th place. We play Philadelphia Sunday. Right now, the Knicks are 18 and 15. Again, in sixth place. Top 10 in both offense and defensive rating. That is the sign of a good team. Let's see if that continues. Philadelphia right now is 19-12. They're 5th in the Eastern Conference. Over their last 10, they're 7-3, and they've won their last 7. So they're coming into the Garden on Sunday smoking hot, right? Knicks have lost 2. I'm hoping with the Knicks, there's a little bit more desperation on their end, like it was when Toronto came into the Garden. That's what I'm hoping. But they're going to need a little bit more than desperation to deal with Embiid. And Harden had a 21 assist triple-double last night. They are playing extremely well. They are 15th in offensive rating, 2nd in defensive rating. The Knicks are 1-0 against Philadelphia this season. I don't believe Embiid played in that game. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I anticipate the same starters for the Knicks: Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randall, Robinson. And these are the 5 who started for Philadelphia in their last game: James Harden, DeAnthony Melton, PJ Tucker, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. So how are we feeling about this game in Madison Square Garden tomorrow? Sherwin, the Knicks' biggest problem is their talent level. We are not as good as our standings. I disagree. Now, if you want to say behind our top 3 players, then I would agree. Behind our top 3 players, I do think the defensive contributions of the players that come off our bench is exceptional. I really like it. But offensively, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Now, Obi comes back. He was averaging 10, 11 points a game, but the defense is going to be an issue. Quickly now is averaging, he's our 4th leading scorer. He's averaging 10, 11 points a game. But I would agree with that in terms of the bench. But when you look at these other teams, their bench is not that strong either. Their bench is not there, not that strong either. Pudge Nice should be a win tomorrow. I hope you're right. Put Jericho on Embiid ASAP. Embiid is a monster. Now, I'm with that if Sims is playing him on the perimeter, because Embiid does like to play on the perimeter and Sims can move his feet. Down low, though, I think he would overpower Sims. I mean, he makes Sims look tiny, actually. Pudge Nice, most benches are weak. CAA Mafia, this lineup just doesn't make sense. Our top dogs all operate in the post, and they can't play defense. We accept Grimes to guard 1 through 3. Not really. I mean, listen, the Knicks are 9th in defensive rating, right? That's not all because of Grimes. It's not all because of Grimes, right? The Knicks at one point were 24. I think after the Dallas game, we were 24th in defensive rating. And we've been moving up and moving up and moving up. And that's because the team defense has gotten better and individual defenders have gotten better. Okay? All right. Anyway, as far as the upcoming shows, I will... Hold on. As far as the upcoming shows, I'll be back Monday morning. The Knicks play Christmas, 12 o'clock against Philadelphia 76ers. We just went over that. And I'll be back Monday morning, 9 a.m. For the morning recap. Appreciate you, Sherwin, Keith Turner, Pudge Nice, CAA Mafia, Ajay, Paris Duggar. Appreciate you. No hard feelings, Paris Duggar, at all. Nothing but love. Keith Turner, our children, our communities, our children. Appreciate you. Josh, appreciate you. Merry Christmas Eve, staff. Yes, some Knicks fans are living in a state of delusion. All right. Did I miss anybody? I don't. David G, I appreciate you as well. I don't think. Ashley Ing1, I appreciate you. Joseph Berkeley, King Ribby, RM 10, Tim Smith, not panicking, but the flaws that I have seen are being exposed. I think the Knicks will be, I think the Knicks will be okay. I think we finish. I think we go to the playoffs, even if we have to play in. I think the Knicks are going to be fine. I agree that we can stand a little talent upgrade to add to the 3 players we have. Obviously, if there's a star, we can trade 1 or 2 of them for a star. But if not, I think the Knicks can upgrade. Listen, the Knicks hit their free throws. We're having a different conversation this morning. We're having a different conversation if they hit their free throws, right? They play good perimeter defense. We're having a different conversation. Brunson hits or Grimes hits those free. It's a different conversation. So I'm not panicking at all. I think we're going to be all right. Anyway, I appreciate you guys, those that are here now, those that's going to watch later. Happy holidays to you and your family. Be safe. Appreciate you.
Sister, you're one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's her.
shine. Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't stop.